Hey, this is Chantal Girardi from Online Business Marketing, and today's masterclass is going to be on the only lead magnet that works for every business. So whether you e-commerce, whether you service-based, if you were looking to have one lead magnet, what works across all of these? And I'm going to share that with you today. So if you don't have a lead magnet, or if you have lead magnets that are not working, this is one that will work across all industries and all businesses. And I'm going to share with you how. I'm also going to share with you how to actually structure the entire thing, how to come up with it all, and where you should actually be using it, like how you actually generate leads using this lead magnet. So I think the most important thing about this lead magnet, that its primary goal is to help you make a buyer's decision. So it's about supporting you in making a decision before you actually buy, if that makes sense. And it will make sense as we get into this. So, in short terms, it's kind of like a guide. However, if you were to have a guide on your website, nobody would download it. So today I'm going to share with you how to actually structure something that is actually going to work for your business. So when people are creating lead magnets, they usually go and they create, a guide, a checklist, an ebook, and they put it all up and they kind of cross their fingers and hope someone's going to download it. The thing about this particular one is that it literally is what it is. It's kind of like a brochure for your business, but it kind of showcases your points of difference and helps those who are already interested in what it is that you have make a decision to choose you over somebody else. And that's why this particular lead magnet, I think, is kind of spiffy. Um, Basically, people can download it and go, what is it in it for me? What do I need to learn about it? So, for example, with a professional services business, they might go, how much is it? I don't really want to book a call. How does it actually work? And this is what this guide really is. So it is a brochure, it is a guide. I know the title sounds much more clickbaity, but it is. I'm going to share with you today how to actually make it work. So when it comes to lead magnets, usually it's a checklist, it's a discount code. If it's e-commerce, it's usually a PDF that somebody may download, a generic ebook, maybe a free consultation, or maybe like your top tips. But the worst thing that really happens with a lead magnet is that nothing happens after they download the lead magnet. So regardless of whether or not you use this or use any lead magnet, it's what people do afterwards. So last week I made an inquiry. Somebody actually referred me to a bookkeeping company. They said, go to this company. I went on and it said, book a call or complete the contact us form and someone will be in touch via email. So I went, okay, let me fill out the contact us form. I have been sitting waiting and the company has not replied to me at all about my inquiry. And I've literally said, I'm ready to get started. Someone referred me to you. I'm on the Gold Coast. I want a bookkeeper. This is what I need. And no one's got back to me. Okay. And that contact us form is a lead magnet and they haven't done anything with it. So now I'm actually going to Facebook Messenger them, which reminds me, I did that to another business. They said, PM me. I PM'd them. 2 months later, this was an accountant, 2 months later contacted me and said, sorry, I didn't see this. All right. So if you're going to be sending someone somewhere, you've got to make sure that the back end of that something is actually following up on those leads, because else you're losing leads. And these are two professional businesses. One's a bookkeeping company, one's an accounting company. And yet yesterday I filled out the contact us form for a plumber and they've already replied, sent me an SMS and booked me in. So communication's been epic. All right. So rather be like the plumber than the accountant and the bookkeeper. So you've got to make sure that you've got replies, that you're following up, that you continue to build that relationship with them and give them the next step. Keep the lines of communication open. So a good lead magnet is not just about attracting attention, okay? So most of the times the title is going to be a really good title. You want to attract attention with that title, but you want to make sure that when you've got it, when the ideal customer actually has that thing, that they understand, that they know that you understand the problem that they actually have. They know why that problem matters. They know what their options are, what mistakes that they can avoid, what decisions they need to make in order to take the next step. And they need to know that you're a trusted solution, and that your business is actually relevant. Basically, that you actually give a crap. So It is a decision-making guide. Okay, this brochure is a decision-making guide. It's not just spitting out going me, 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 me. And I will go through what needs to be in it. But you want to make sure that it's allowing the person on the other side to say, we are a right fit. So if you like, we could call it a right fit guide. Are we the right fit for each other? Right? Some other names that you could, it could be a buyer's guide, a decision guide, a planning guide, a readiness guide, a comparison guide, a what to know before you buy guide, how to choose the right guide. And the name can obviously change depending on the industry, but the overall purpose is the same. And it is a little bit different for e-commerce and service-based, and I will go into that today for you. It needs to help your ideal customer move from confused and unsure to clearer and more informed so that they're now ready to take action. Cool. So a good guide is going to build trust. All right. And, I always follow the four-point structure with everything. You've got your hook, you've got your hook, you've got connection, you've got credibility, and you've got your call to action. And I'm going to go into the specifics of those when it comes to your guide. So your ideal guide is usually not sitting there thinking, I really hope somebody gives me another PDF. However, they really will look at this PDF and this guide if they're thinking, what do I actually need? Who can I trust? What should I avoid? How do I know which option is the best for me? Is this worth my money? Will this work for me? What happens after I buy? Am I ready for this? What if I make the wrong decision? It can have all those frequently asked questions inside there as well. And it positions you as helpful, not just pushy. Okay. You can imagine if they're making a decision and there's two people out there they're making a decision between you and another company. They'll go, oh my gosh, this company has been so helpful. They've literally answered all the questions that I had that I needed to make, like the decisions I needed to make before actually making this decision. They've helped me with all of these. And I know recently I just did that. I was looking at buying my own snorkeling kit because I snorkel everywhere I go. Just snorkeled in Airlie, ticked that off the bucket list. Great Barrier Reef, took my own snorkeling gear with me. But when I was buying my gear, I went onto one that had ads. It had this 40% off discount. Their customer service sucked. Absolutely sucked. I said to them, escalate, escalate, escalate. Let me speak to your business owner. And obviously they've got somebody managing it for them who's not actually talking to the business owner and telling them about this. But when it came to the fins, I'm a 39, which is in between, like the size, the flippers, the fin size. So I was like, if I'm in between sizes, do I go bigger or do I go smaller in your particular fit? So I was reading the testimonials. I couldn't find it anywhere. Anyway, thank goodness for ads, because now, if you're looking at something in ads, something else will come up that's similar. Another brand came up. They didn't have the 40% off, but guess what they had? They had a how to choose what size to buy. And I didn't give a hoot about that 40% off. I just went and bought it because I didn't want to have to, didn't want them to be the wrong size. I didn't want to have to send them back. I just knew that I'd be able to measure my foot and buy. So they answered the question and I bought from them. So it's a really good example of how this guide can really work. So it builds the trust in the sales conversion. And it also gives yourself or your marketing team something useful to promote. And, when it comes to this, I always talk about the 6 key things, and I'm going to share with you how to do that across the 6 key areas in marketing. So it works in all service-based businesses. It works in all e-commerce types business, any business that has to make a decision from you or somebody else, between you and somebody else. So it'll work for any of them, especially if they are looking at price, but you want them to start looking at other things like experience, your location, your approach, your reviews, how personable you are, your availability, how much they feel they know you, that you know them. Cool. So for e-commerce businesses, in e-commerce businesses, it can be heavily about the price, all right? And I know a lot of the e-commerce businesses I work with, they don't discount, All right. So they don't do Black Friday sales. Their price never gets discounted. And it's always one price, which means if they're doing that, they've got to have a personal brand and a really strong business brand. So people choose them and want to support them over any other business. And that's why one of these guys can really work well in an e-commerce business because they're not going to be price sensitive, but they're going to be more brand aligned. All right, so how big should it be, right? Actually, too big, people are going to lose interest. So 5 to 12 pages, if it's really like informative but not overwhelming, you could go up to the 12 mark, but make sure that you break it up with images, subheadings, headings, and so that it's not just consumed with a whole bunch of text on one page. Because if you're anything like me, you're not going to want to read it, right? So for me, I prefer dot points, I prefer numbers, and I prefer good spacing, so it's easier to read. So number one is always it's the hook, and that is the title. The title is the number one thing because a weak title is not going to get anybody to download it. So if you say free guide, free ebook, my top 10 tips, my helpful checklist, my business ebook, my wellness guide, it's not pain and aspiration driven enough and it's not niche specific enough. So you want to look for stronger titles. So, for example, it might be the business owner's guide to choosing the right marketing support, the homeowner's guide to preparing for a renovation, the skincare buyer's guide for sensitive skin, the founder's guide to building a marketing system that doesn't depend on you, the dog owner's guide to choosing the right food for your dog's age and lifestyle. So, a good title should always have who is this for, what decision it helps them with, and what outcome it supports. So number two, it needs a short introduction that names the problem. So again, this is about the connection. It's showing them that you know them. You know the problem that they are experienced, that you're experienced with what they're needing help with. And that is, again, both in the service-based and e-commerce space. This makes the reader feel that they're understood. So number three is the signs that they need the solution. So again, we're going a little bit into the connection part over here, which helps the reader to self-identify. Okay, so signs that they are ready for help, symptoms of the problem, mistakes they're currently making, what happens if they delay the decision, so the cost of an action. These are all things that you can put in there for a service-based business. For an e-commerce business, it could be something like signs you're choosing the wrong product, common frustrations, when is the time to upgrade, how do you know that the product will suit their needs, and what happens if you buy on price alone. So here I'm going to share the story with you about a makeup artist. Oh my gosh, what's his name? Is it James Charles? Charles James? Have I got the right person? James Charles James. You have to put in is it James Charles? Yeah. Anyway, my daughters came to me and said, "Oh my gosh, Mom, you've got to buy this color palette. It goes online. It'll sell out straight away." Their marketing was intense, and it was like between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So I've got 3 girls. I'm like, great, buy one palette. 1 o'clock, set the alarm, get up, go online, and already it's like sold out. By the time I've gone on, I'm too slow. I didn't buy it. So I thought, I'll go onto eBay and I'll go buy a James Charles color palette, right? And I go onto eBay and I buy it. And I swear it looks exactly the same. And I bought the palette, delivered to the door. I thought my daughters are not going to know it at all. Straight away, they pick up the palette, they look at it and they go, "Mum, you have just bought a counterfeit." And I went, "What do you mean? What do you know?" And he goes, "Because he's been online on Reels telling everybody how to spot a counterfeit and how the counterfeit is so bad for you and it's going to be allergic to your skin." So my daughters refused to use it. They were like, "Nah, we're not using it." So how good is that, right? How good marketing is that? So, show the audience, confront them and say, "Hey, this is what happens when you buy the bad stuff," and then people become, as I said, they become brand aligned rather than price sensitive. So number 4 is around what to consider before they buy or book. So show them the process of buying or booking. And this really does come down to credibility. So it's one of the most important sections because this obviously puts you as the trusted person. So for a service-based business, it might be your experience, the process of engaging you, the communication style of how you like to work together, inclusions and exclusions, the price versus the value, the location or delivery method, the testimonials, qualifications, turnaround times, support after the service, whether or not they're right for the service, and whether the provider actually understands, like whether or not you actually understand their specific situation. For an e-commerce business, it might be around things like materials that they use, the ingredients, the sizing, the product type, the lifestyle fit, the quality indicators, the care instructions. Returns are super important, and customer reviews and product comparisons. So it's not about buy from us because we're amazing. It's more about how we can help the customer become a smarter buyer so they actually make the decision themselves. It actually becomes a no-brainer for them to use you. So number 5 then is about common mistakes to avoid. Okay, now you're not fear mongering them, but you are just showing them some of the common mistakes. So for example, what happens if you choose based on price alone, booking with somebody that doesn't understand their process, hiring support when you don't yourself know what those goals are, expecting instant results when there's no such thing as a quick fix, choosing a provider who doesn't specialize in their type of program. So, for example, I always say be careful of quick fixes, you know, supposed quick fixes, because it does not exist. So, if somebody's promising you that, that's a warning sign. So, I'll actually educate my audience on that. I also say to them as well, check testimonials. If they don't have testimonials from clients, you know, like we have over 300 testimonials as a marketing agency, go and check their testimonials. So I give them that advice. So they go and look, and when they notice that they don't have any testimonials, they go, okay, something here, you know. So I say, even you can talk to my clients if you like. My clients will talk to you. They're happy to talk to you and refer us. So what's the other one that I always say to them? Oh, check that they've done that, whatever the tactics are that they use, that they are teaching, that they actually use themselves and has actually worked. So for example, a business coach, have they actually achieved, if they're an 8-figure business coach, have they actually achieved 8 figures? That's what you want to actually check, right? So when it comes to e-commerce, it's a little bit different. Common mistakes might be choosing the cheapest option. So for example, as I said with the makeup example, they said it's cheap stuff, it's bad for your skin, you'll break out in a rash. So of course my daughters didn't want to use it. Choosing the wrong size. So for example, I used the fins example. Like if I choose the wrong fins, I'd have to return them. Like, and I was like, I don't want to do that. That's a pain. Not checking ingredients or materials, buying based on trends instead of needs, ignoring the care instructions. I just bought some boots yesterday, some velvet boots, and the lady was like, do you want to buy this over here? Like, you need to protect it with a waterproof solution. It looks like it's going to rain tomorrow. You're wearing them tomorrow. You've got to wear this. You've got to spray it 3 times. I was like, just give it to me. I need to buy it because it's going to rain and I've got these new boots. So give this to me. And then I said to her, can I use it on all these other boots? And I gave her the example of all the other boots I've got. And she's like, yes, you can. And I was like, okay, I've bought those other boots, but not once did they say you've actually got to put this waterproof solution on it. So, you know, this woman's customer service was great. Not understanding how to use the product properly. I think that's another good one as well, like how to actually use the product properly. And bundling items together. That's always a good one, like why you should bundle items together, like for example, the waterproof spray and the shoes. And number 6 then is, you know, putting in a simple checklist. People love little checklists of things that they can check. For me, if ever we are giving our clients things to do, a list, I will number it. I won't just use dot points because I know I've done number 1. Now I need to do number 2. Now I've got to do number 3. And I know I'm a process-driven person. I know actually everyone on this call is a process-driven person. And numbers are great. In our head, we're ticking it off. If it's a dot point, you can kind of lose track of 1, 2, 3. So it's a case of like, here are the 3 steps. Here are the 5 steps. And Francis, even for you with like event marketing, it's even like if it's a show up sequence, it's like, here are the 3 things we need you to do. 1, 2, 3. When you give it a number, for some reason, people go, okay, 3 things. I've got 3 things to do. I've just got 3 things to do. Like they seem to hang on to it a little bit more. So So checklists in the guide can be really helpful as well, where you can just explain the process. So, for example, if it's a service-based business, the process of how we engage together. These are three ways that we can work together, or three ways for us to discover if we're a perfect fit, or three ways for us to actually sign up. You could actually give that to them. And for e-commerce businesses, it might be have I checked the size, the color, the ingredients, the materials, and have like a little checklist. Did I read the care instructions? Right? And then those checklists, because you never do one thing once, ever. Okay, marketing is boring. Whenever you make something, you can use it in 1,000 different ways. So that checklist can now become a carousel post. Can become a reel script. It can go on the website. You can put it on your Google My Business profile. You can use it in email marketing as a sales conversion tool. You can use it in email nurture sequences. It can be an article on LinkedIn. There can be a featured post in a Facebook group, a pinned post on Instagram. You never do one thing once. You take it and you go, where can I put it in front of everyone? Can I put it in the about section, in all my bios and banners? Cool. And then number seven, of course, is the call to action, because if you don't have a call to action, people don't know what the next step is. So I was away last week on a cruise with a whole bunch of friends. One of my friends was looking at working with one of my other friends. And she was like, you're doing these amazing Facebook lives. Like every day you're doing these lives, but you never actually tell people what the next step is. I don't know if I need to go to the website or I need to book a call. Do I need to like, what's the actual next step? Do you want me to email you, private message? So it was a very good lesson, bearing in mind these are my friends, not my clients. But it's good to know that a call to action is really important. Is like, what is the next step? Just give them that next step, because if they don't know what it is, they won't take it. So is it a quiz? Is it an assessment? Is it an inquiry form? And it doesn't have to be an opt-in, because you'll already have them as an opt-in if they're downloading that guide. That means they're completing a form and you're actually getting their details. You already have their resource. You can now just send them to a blog or to a podcast, anything else that's going to be relevant or to support them, or book a call. But for the e-commerce business, it could be something around like take the product quiz, like which size should you choose? Which colors should you choose? For example, are you more autumn, winter, summer, spring when it comes to your colors? And that could help them make the buying decision as well. So the call to action simply in e-commerce could be, great, you've downloaded the guide. For wholesale, go here. For retail, go here. Okay, because for e-commerce businesses, they might have a wholesale and retail section. So number eight really is about that about section as well, where you build trust. And there should always just be a little bit about you. So again, this is just about aligning your brand and your values with yourself and your customer so that you're building rapport with them. So in that about section, to help build that rapport and trust, you should have who you help, what you're known for, your point of difference, what your approach is that's different, your experience, your credibility, and of course, again, how people can take that next step. All right, so just a reminder that that lead magnet then has to connect to the entire marketing system. It is a lead magnet, but it is a guide brochure, a one size fits all for all businesses. This particular guide and brochure does work well when you follow these points, but you do have to put it in the right places. So a full marketing system means it's got to be on your website. You've got to put it on your Google My Business. You've got to have the email marketing sequence, so a form that then goes to the email marketing sequence and to CRM. The social media platforms, so put it out on social media as part of your content plan. Lead generation, so lead generation is a bit different. You might use it to some of your LinkedIn contacts, maybe to some of in your Facebook groups, and use it for pitching or posting. And then I really love this one, but for partnerships, this is a really great one to give to your partners. Instead of saying to them, could you refer me and, put us into like an email introduction, you could say to them, hey, could you give them this video? This video explains how we work together, or this guide explains about our business, who we are and what we do and how we help people. And we can actually give it to your partners to share with their potential clients as well. So other places you can put it for e-commerce businesses. You can actually put it on your product category page. You can put it at the bottom of blog posts as well. You can put it in the footer of your website, on your contact us page, your free resources page on the website. You could have as a pop-up, um, a bar, an announcement bar. I notice that Brian does that for me. He'll often put it in the announcement bar. It could be on thank you pages as well. So if somebody's done a particular action, you can have a pop-up that says thank you very much. Here's a little bit more about us. Download this here. QR codes, events, expos on banners. I've got it on my business cards as well. You can have a QR code on your business code, on your business card. And it can just, if somebody's interested, you could say, oh, you want to know a little bit more about me? Here we go. Like this actually explains everything, and it's not pushy at all, and people are happy to download it, and of course they're going to go through an email nurture sequence as well. So the guide should always trigger an email nurture sequence and should obviously deliver the guide. So email one is always about delivering the guide. And I am a fan about delivering guides immediately. I don't know why, but there's some coaches that say you should deliver it like 2 hours later or something. And there's nothing like disappointment. If I've just downloaded something, I'm curious and I want to see it straight away. But I'm a D personality type, so maybe that's just me. So it's up to you. But for me, if I say download it, I want it in my inbox right then and there to have a little look. Email two should expand on that problem and should give them practical insight into that guide and should even relate to the guide, relate back to it. I like to say, oh, section 3 or page 3 was the most popular where I spoke about this. But, email me back and let me know whether or not you prefer point 5. Because now they're like, oh, what was point 3? What was point 5? And they might want to go back and have a look. Email 3 might be about teaching them something useful about the concept. So, for example, it might be a practical insight about one of it, like a top tip, or expand on one of the more frequently asked questions to go into detail more about it. Email 4 could be sharing proof or a story, so like a case study about, Mary came to you and she was feeling like this and now she feels like that. And again, this works both in the service-based and product-based business. I recently bought another pair of gumboots because I bought the gumboots because I've got a camper van, love gumboots. I bought this. I wanted a funky color. I did not want a boring color because they have got 20,000 different colors and it probably took me a year to buy because I didn't know what color to buy. Eventually, I got this beautiful bright green. But of course, I can't wear it now with my smart outfits. And like I go to wineries and I still want to wear it in my smart outfits. I've just bought a brown pair and I didn't know whether or not I should buy the brown pair or the stone pair. And, now there's a guide, a care guide on how you can actually, protect them. So I've now bought an extra pair of boots, gum boots, and I got 2 pairs of gum boots. Just based on the fact that I've been supported by going in, having a look. They've got all these images of other people wearing the boots, and I'm like, that looks great in that outfit. I've got outfits like that, so that color is actually going to look really good with my outfits. And then the email 5 is inviting them to the next step. So you might have a soft sell the whole way along. The soft sell the whole way along might be, email me back. If you do ever want to chat, here's my link. Here's our number. Give us a call. Just like soft little sells, but you can go a bit harder on that 5th one. So that 5th one might be like, this is who I am. This is who I like. This is who I am. This is who I help. And this is how I can help people like you. And if this is for you, you can go ahead and book a call, or straight away you can go and buy this right now. And in e-commerce, we often use a first-time buyers coupon to get the immediate sale. So you might give them a first-time buyers coupon straight away. So again, the lead magnet, the special guide that works for everything, this like little brochure guide, if you follow these steps and you make it really useful and you position the title really well, it will do nothing if it's sitting on your website, not taking an email and not putting people into a nurture sequence. You have got to take it out and put it everywhere. Which is really, really important. So more places that you can put it, stories, Instagram and Facebook stories. You could even run it as a poll. You could say mistakes to avoid. Before you buy, you might want to know this about my business. You could even put it, My gosh, I just thought of somewhere now, forgot. I'll remember. Oh, in your email signature. So when we talk about email signatures, we're talking about you've got your personal email signature, and then you've got your templated mass email marketing signatures as well. So you could even put it inside there as well. Now, some of you might be going, some of the more advanced people might be going, why would you put it in your email newsletter template? Because you've already got their email. So why would you put it in there for them to download it? Well, what'll happen is they'll get the tag. And when people like that get the tag, we now know that that person's interested in that service. So when they click that, so for example, say for example, I've got a let's talk about the marketing gap quiz, and then say I've got someone how to create a marketing unicorn. Depending on what they download will give me an indication of where they are in their business and what they're looking for help with, which means I can retarget them differently. So your lead magnet opt-in page should always include the title, and as I said, the title is the most important thing. Who it is for specifically. It should literally qualify and disqualify who it is for. The problem it solves. And when I say the problem, it's not they're stressed and overwhelmed. It is specifically you wake up every day not knowing what to post on social media, going, oh my gosh, we're spending so much time doing this, but not getting a result. Okay, that is much more than saying, oh, I'm stressed on social media. You want to be much more specific. What they will learn from it. So in here, you can discover whether or not we're the right marketing agency for you. A simple image of the guide, a short opt-in form, and you can decide, but generally I like first name and second name separately as required fields. I like the phone number as a non-required field, and I like the email, obviously the email address has got to be in there as a required field. But the phone number, it's up to you whether or not, but sometimes if you have it as a required field, people won't actually download the guide. It's up to you whether or not you want to test it. For the buttons, the language that you use on the buttons are really important. If you want to go onto onlinebusinessmarketing.com.au, go to free resources, go to blog and look for call to actions. There is a blog where we did on call to actions and specifically talks about the language that you use in buttons. And it really is around different personality types and the words people like to use, but also the different buying stages of people. Different words work better for others. Learn more is usually the safest option because buy now can be too committal for some people and some industries. So it does depend on the industry and the stage of the buying cycle the person's in and the type of person who's buying from you as well. So on these particular buttons to download this guide, you might have send me the guide, download the free guide, help me choose, so it's less committal, help me choose, show me what to look for, discover more about our business, explore our offers. You can just see how the language you use is going to make a big difference. And sometimes putting two different buttons on the page with two different words and then seeing which one works better. So sometimes it might be the order of the button. Sometimes it's the language of the button. So using Google Analytics or your website analytics, you'll be able to go in and have a look and see which words are converting better than others. So again, I just want to specify that it is important for you to take this guide, and this guide, so much more better than a guide and a brochure. It's epic, it's juice, gold, glitter, but you want to make sure that you are putting it out everywhere, and that includes your partners. So going to all your partners and saying, hey, have you got something for me? I'll put it on my website. I'll put it on your website. Could I put it on my email signature? Could you put it on your email signature? You could even do a partnership swap, even partnership posting. Hey, my friend's just done this video on how to create a marketing unicorn. If anybody wants it, here it is. And doing a partnership swap. Of course, you can use AI to help you create this particular guide. It does depend on the human intelligence you put into it. AI obviously works best when you know specifically who your audience is, you know specifically the problem that they have, You know what they are trying to decide and the process that they're going through and making that decision, what your offer is, what their point of view is and perspective is, and what is yours. What tone do you want, and then what action do you want people to take? Because if you do a lazy prompt, you're going to get a lazy lead magnet guide. So what can your marketing VA or marketing manager do with this? So a couple more really cool ideas. You can create the guide in Canva. You can create the landing page, set up the opt-in form, connect the email automation, upload the guide to your website, create tags and segments so it goes to the CRM. You can use it in your social posts, schedule it for your Google My Business profile. We actually like to put it as a product on Google My Business as well. You could write a blog on it. You could add as a call to action in a blog. But very, 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 very important when we do these things, besides sending traffic to it, we've got to obviously get monitor data and get some data around it and track what's actually working. So track the leads and track the conversions. Test the different call to action placements, like I said, test the words, test which buttons are working better, and then update the guide over time. So as time goes on, I'll look at it and go, you know what, those lead magnets aren't quite relevant anymore. So let's get rid of those lead magnets and make sure that the lead magnets on our templates, our email marketing templates, our email signature, and on our website, the relevant ones are active and the other ones are not active anymore. So the biggest mistake you can make is creating the guide and not having a nurture sequence. The second biggest mistake is not sending traffic to it. The third is not looking at the data. So you want to make sure that that you're doing all those things. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe or leave a comment below. Also turn on your notifications so that you'll get the update when we run these live masterclasses. For our live audience now, we're going to go to Q&A and look at specifically how we can apply this to their businesses. This is Chantal Girardi from Online Business Marketing.